Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, race fans, to the Talledega Super Speedway with the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, sponsored by Gary Mercer Trucking, brought to you and presented by MW Productions. I'm Michael Keaton up in the booth with you tonight, and alongside down in the producer studios, the man that makes it happen for you famous people out there, Michael Woolley. Folks, you'd have to go all the way back to April, when the last time the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series kicked into gear. It was at Texas, where the man who would win it, Rhett McBride. Although Rhett would only lead one lap, he would lead the lap that counted the most and finish first. Adam Benefiel would finish second. Eric Brundy's third, leading the most laps, 81, but couldn't quite get it done. Fourth spot belonged to the Still Horse Racing Dan Murray. Fifth was Thomas J. George. Jonathan Goodell rounded out sixth. Bobby Terrell, part of Joey Jattina Racing, would finish seventh. Scott Stentzel in the 42 car would start 17th and finish 8th. John Higman Jr. 9th. Brian Harvey would round out the top 10, just picking up one spot from where he started in 11th. Now that brings us to Talledega into the point standings, where Eric Brundy's is leading, but by some call a small margin. 6 points is the lead over second place man Rhett McBride. Jonathan Goodell, who is one of the top 3 in points, but the only man to not win a race so far, is third. Thomas J. George fourth. Joey Jattina is fifth. Brandon Peterson sits sixth in the point standings, 54 back from Eric Brundy's. Steve Gottschalk seventh. Nathan Little 8th, Scott Stentzel 9th, and Kevin Linden, how about this, the only man with a 6 starts only, just 6 starts out of the 7 that I've just mentioned starts by the other top 9 drivers. He's in 10th with 1 top 5 and 2 top 10 finishes for Kevin Linden. And folks, you're in for a treat tonight. Again, Talledega Super Speedway. I kidded some of the folks here earlier about what country you're in, and some say, oh, this is Gator country. No, you got the wrong state. That's Florida. Oh, some say that this is Blazer country, UAB. No, that's the medical center. Some say, well, I'll tell you what, let's look at last year's results. Although they got beat by the Seminoles, it's Tiger country. But folks, there's only one animal that can trump a tiger, and you know it. It's an elephant. Roll Tide. We'll see you in a minute. We'll take you to the promo, into the national anthem, and we'll return to Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series. Back live where qualifying has nearly all but wrapped up. Just under a minute left to go. Mark Bratcher is the man who's quickest right now. Out of 30 drivers, that's at least put a qualifying lap down. Now 32 drivers are signed up for the race at Talledega. 84 laps here tonight. Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, sponsored by Gary Mercer Trucking and presented to you by MW Productions. We're in for a good one. Talledega, my home track. I tell you, the tandem draft is still in effect here for the most part. I've seen some of the qualifying runs here. We've seen some guys separate just a tad bit. Some of them would, I don't know. The tandems are still virtually. There's still a way around having to tandem draft, I guess you could call it. So we should see some pack drafting and some pack racing here tonight. Don't let any of that fool you. And now for the starting lineup again, mentioned Mark Bratcher, quickest in qualifying. The man that's going to start beside him, the 44 car, Glenn Campbell. Bratcher put down a 47.372 to Campbell's 374. So virtually those two drivers hooked up during qualifying and landed themselves on the front row. Second row, the 66 machine, Brian Harvey, paired up with Guy Snyder there in the 27 machine. He'll roll off fourth. Fifth spot belongs to Justin M. Wilson, and sixth belongs to the 68 machine of Scott Simley. CJ LeBaire back in action on the Monday Night Series. 04 machine will roll off seventh. BT, that's Bobby Terrell in the 91 car, rolls off eighth. Ninth quickest at Talledega, the 03 of Nathan Bowers, and newcomer 18 car, Hollis Vanderloon, will be the 10th quickest in qualifying tonight. Jonathan Cadell, the 11 machine, starts 11th. Brandon Peterson in the top 5 in points coming into tonight's event is 12th. Eric Brundy's 13th quickest. Brennan Mercer in the 29 car going to start 14th tonight. Rolling off 15th is the 42 car of Scott Stencil. And the 1 machine of Thomas J. George will roll off in the 16th spot. Aaron Grosskopf, welcoming him back to the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series after a weekend off or two. He's in the 25 car again, starting 17th. Pete Brooks Jr. 18th. Brett McBride going to start that 20 machine back in 19th spot. And Joey Jatina, who just come off of a good ARCA run at Talledega himself, will start 20th in that 26 car. Jose Malbran in the 21 position, 53 car tonight. JOV, Jorge Ordonez Villages, starts 22nd. JOV, the 92 machine, Jason Lester, rolls off 23rd. 24th quickest is Mr. Pilot, John Abbott. 55 car, Dan Murray starts beside him in 25th. Jeff Eden, part of the Eden Construction, rolls off 60th. Excuse me, rolls in the 60 car in 26th. Kevin Linden, you know, it would be fun to have 60 cars at Talledega though. But anyway, Kevin Linden starting 27, excuse me, again. 28th, Ryan Vaughn in the 28 machine. 29th quickest at Talledega will be Nathan Little. And the last to take time with Nathan Little, both turning the 56 lap time, is the 65 car Ed Williams Jr. And the last two drivers not to take time is Adam Benefield and the number 10 car of Michael Gray. It looks like Keith Brooks Jr. in the 15 car starting from the pit road. Adam Benefield starting from pit road. Michael Gray also. So 3 drivers on pit road. And folks, that's going to be quite interesting because when we go green, they'll have to kind of wait just a second for the pace car to come in and park, and then they'll be able to go. But the bad thing is, guys, is that's just, there's 3 drivers, and I don't know if they can 3-car tandem it up. Maybe they can.
John, I'll be back.
Maybe they've talked. I'm sure they're trying to game plan right now together. But somebody may be an unlucky guy. And in fact, one of the drivers here in the back, possibly Nathan Little in the 41 car, or Ed Williams Jr., may get shuffled back here without a partner too, as it's an odd number of drivers out on the track right now. But with that said, Talledega Superspeedway, the over 2.5 mile racetrack in Alabama, just about 55 miles north of Birmingham. The Z-Loop Toyota of Mark Bratcher is going to lead this sucker to the green. And the 44 of Glenn Campbell, the Ford machine, on the outside. Slow but steady start, 70 miles an hour. Pacing to the green here without the pace car. He's down on pit road. And the green flag is in the air to start out the 84 laps of thunder at Talledega. And for the most part, single file behind the front two packs of leaders here, the first two rows. Glenn Campbell actually hooked up with the 27 of Guy Snyder. Now Mark Bratcher gets a little bit of help from the 66 car of Brian Harvey. And your leader currently in turn 3 is Glenn Campbell. Folks, look for the high side to be in effect tonight. I believe that the high side at Talledega, they've worked on some stuff. They've worked on these cars. And I think the high side, the high lane here, can mount some charge up. In fact, you can tell the leader pulling out to a good length of lead here. Coming through the tri-oval may clear Mark Bratcher here as Brian Harvey hitting on the back deck lid of him, and they will. The front two guys now are Glenn Campbell and Guy Snyder. Looking back towards the 16th, 17th spot on the racetrack where Aaron Grosskopf, the 60 car of Jeff Heaton, are putting up a good show. The 26 car Joey Jatina battling with Brett McBride and the 35 of Jorge. This is really the only double file action that's going on. Quite surprising here so far. As everyone's pretty much nearly 2 laps into the race, single file. Taking things easy. 84 laps on the books tonight, and we are about to complete the second lap. So if my math serves me correctly, there's 82 laps to go. Again, 32 drivers tonight. So far, everyone on the lead lap, except for Thomas J. George in that one car in 32nd spot. In fact, Thomas J. George having electrical issues with that machine, and it has caused him to go a lap down. Looking back up towards the 7th spot, where I just thought I saw C.J. LeVere sneak a nose out to Scott Simley, but he shuffled it back in, and now there's still single file. So single file continues here at Talledega, an unusual type situation. The only racing, side-by-side racing going on back here is still with the 19th spot and the 18th and 17th spot where Joey Jatina, the 35 car of Jorge, runs, and Brett McBride. Joey Jatina back all over Jeff Eaton's Ford machine as they go through the trial with a complete lap 3 here at Talledega. Side-by-side action here mid-pack. Again, back behind them, Jason Lester in the 53 car of Jose Malbrand beginning to run 2 wide. Driver that's fell off the pace here is Ed Williams Jr. in the 27th position. No help, and I tell you folks, at Talledega, if you don't have a drafting partner, you're pretty much out to dry. Now, 3 wide action coming on at you at turn 3 and 4 at Talledega. The 20 car, Brett McBride stuck in the middle. The 26 Katina outside, Jason Lester to the inside. That's the colorful blue, yellow, red, and black machine. To the inside as now they settle back down 2 wide. So Joey making things interesting way up top high side here at Talledega. And things will settle back down momentarily as we complete lap 4 here at Talledega. Folks, you're watching the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series live on the MW Production, sponsored by Gary Mercer Trucking. And your leader still out front is Glenn Campbell. Now notice that the 27 lime green machine of Guy Snyder snuck his nose to the bottom of the racetrack, kind of like he was going to pass Glenn Campbell, but that is definitely not the case. He's trying to let that car air out a little bit. I'm sure the gauges by now pushing him for 5 laps as we complete here. Has got that engine a little bit somewhat overheated, if not redlining possibly. And when that happens, you've got to cool it down, and that's when you'll see the cars dip to the low side or possibly to the outside of the car in front of them to get a little bit of breath, to give the car some breathing. let's check on things with the Gary Mercer Truck and Chevrolet, the 29 machine running 10th spot. Just look up. He just looked to the high side of Hollis Vanderloon. I believe this is Vanderloon's first start in the series. He's no stranger to the Americas, folks. Hollis Vanderloon is from Michigan, possibly a Detroit Red Wing native. We'll have to find out, but he runs ninth currently in front of Brennan Mercer. Brennan would start 14th, so far moving up 4 spots. Not bad. It's now he'll look to the high side again into turns 1 with no help but side draft help. And sometimes that can work, as Brennan may try to squeeze him here off of turn 3, trying to get some draft in front of him with some of the cars that may drift up to the high side. Here we come, big lid up here. 58 car, Justin Wilson letting out of the throttle big time. Going to allow that 18 car to move to the outside with Brennan. So Vanderloon and Brennan Mercer going to try to compete on the outside here at Talledega. 6 laps into the books here. Coming off of turns 4. Mounting up some steam. And folks, this is when you need to start pushing towards the front, if you ask me, because the guys that's been on the inside, they've been pushing each other. No one's really shifted out of position yet, so the cars, the engines are pretty much on, temperature watch. As now Brennan Mercer rolls out the throttle with those white rims on that Chevy. Working the high side here at Talledega. Brennan switches back to the bottom. Now the 42 Scott Stencil is the next in line to follow behind the Vanderloon Chevy. Oh, excuse me, Toyota. I forget the new Toyota here. Nathan Little, fallen victim, the 41 machine, of 2 electrical problems. Thomas J. George, also remember folks, suffered the electrical issues. Now it's Nathan Little who bites the dust. 42 car, Ford and Toyota going at it. High side, Talledega, 7 laps into the books here. Now making 8 as your leader, Glenn Campbell, is out front, still being pushed by the 27 of Guy Snyder. Mark Bratcher, who would start on the pole, is in 3rd. He's got his teammate, perhaps Fearless Racing Machine, of Brian Harvey behind him, as the high side now starting to mount the charge. 4 cars to the outside. Joey Jattina in the rear of that group on the outside. This is what Talledega's all about. Side-by-side racing here, coming off of turn 4. 9 laps will be complete this time by. No cautions yet so far. 32 drivers enter tonight's event. 2 so far are 2 laps down. That's Thomas J. George in the 1 machine and Nathan Little in the 41 machine, who is trying to get that car back under working power conditions. As he now is 3 laps down. The only position change was Glenn Campbell taking over that number 1 spot from Mark Bratcher. And he had help from Guy Snyder. And those 2 guys hadn't looked back since. Now, one driver that's coming up on the lead pack here as far as being caught on the tail end here, 2 laps down, Thomas J. George. Leaders are fastly approaching, so it'll be interesting to see if all these guys can get by safely, as we've got side-by-side racing through the tri-oval, mounting up a charge. Joey Jattina in the 26 machine, pushing that forward of Scott Stencil for all he's worth, up to 3rd. Passing Mark Bratcher the outside. Does he have enough steam? The guys on the down low side have been pushing each other for quite some time now. Joey makes it 3 wide as he's got to separate them. And now Scott Stencil stuck on the outside, and he'll probably follow in right behind Gatina and try to push him back, as we'll go 3 wide in turn 3 with the lap car way up topside. Woo, everybody getting through quite nicely there. Nathan Little is the driver that you see kind of going backwards there on that way up top side there with no drafting help. Had about six rows deep of 3 wide action during that little bit. Here comes another driver again, Thomas J. George. They finally caught him. He's going to stay in the middle here. Joey Jattina is in that groove. Now Thomas J. George moves to the outside here and allows the middle groove to shape up and go 3 wide yet again. through turn 3. And this is, folks, this is where you see who has the patience. Obviously, we see the drivers on the outside. Nothing wrong with that. This is what Talledega is all about. We love and breathe to see these tight races where everyone's side by side, inches apart. Can literally start tasting the rubber falling off the tire. From the guy beside you is now Joey Gattina leading the charge on the outside. The 42 car, Scott Stencil. It's all but there, up tight. Tight racing through turns 3 and 4 here. I've seen tighter, but for 13 laps in coming to this time by, this is pretty tight. This is the closest anyone's been to the lead since Glenn Campbell's taken it over from Bratcher. Joey Gattina in second, being pushed by Scott Stencil, possibly to the lead in turn 1. Will he have enough juice? As Snyder has got to be breathing that motor now. Stencil, more than likely the red lights blinking on that Coors Light machine, but he tucks back under the rear deck lid of Gattina. Now Gattina leads the race at Talledega down the backstretch. Is it enough to come by and complete one lap of a lead lap? The 04 machine is back there behind Scott Stencil, helping the push on the outside. That's CJ LeBaire. This time by, the 26 machine looking to lead at Talledega for the first time. Will he do it? He does! Joey Gattina leads at Talledega by a horsehair. Now this is where things can get quite dicey. Cars to the bottom, breathing. Scott Stencil got to be breathing that 42 car. He washes up the track a little bit. CJ LeBaire may sneak underneath him. He doesn't decide to do it, but he's got to be quite trying to breathe the throttle on that car. Thomas J. George, who's a lap down, stuck in the middle. He's somewhere between the 6th, 7th, and 8th place cars. The 91 machine of Bobby Terrell sitting in 12th spot to the bottom. He's behind Scott Simley. Side by side, close race action here at Talledega Superspeedway. For a Monday night, not too bad. You're watching Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series. We're going to take you to a commercial break. Hopefully you won't miss the big one here early on at Talledega.
where survival is the only rule, and feelings have no place, where winning is everything, and weakness is fatal. How much difference can one person make? That depends on the person. In every life, there is a line that cannot be crossed without leaving everything behind, except faith. Once that step is taken, there is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny. There is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny.
Welcome back, folks, where you didn't miss a thing other than just usual Talledega racing. Side by side, 3 wide for a little bit. A couple of different lead changes that didn't last long. Mark Bratcher in the 44 car of Glenn Campbell would finally switch positions. Joey Jatina would drop down to the bottom. And things are just as usual as always here at Talledega. Now Scott Sitzel in the 04 car, mounting up a charge. The 04 belonging to CJ LeVere. Those guys on the outside, the silver machine belonging to Scott Stensel, the black and white car of Jimmy Johns belonging to CJ LeVere. And folks, they are side by side all the way back to 16th and 17th spot. I'm telling you, 2 rows deep. Or excuse me, about 8 rows deep there. Side by side. And at the beginning, I mentioned tandem drafts. You can pretty much throw that out the window. There is no tandem draft here right now, other than if you're looking back where the 2 guys that started down on pit road were hooked up, Adam Benefield, Michael Gray. They're tandemed up now. The thing is these guys are running 48.3s. To the leaders, 48.2s, 48.1s. Some of these guys up here turning 48.1s. So if you're somewhere back there out of this lead pack draft, you're banking on a caution. And folks, history repeats itself, and history tells us that there's a big one. There always is, and sometimes, you know, like, not always, they happen at the very end of the race. Sometimes it's right here in the middle. Oh! And somebody just smacked the wall coming into turn 3. Glenn Campbell in the 44 car, and the mayhem nearly starts as I start to tell you about it. Glenn Campbell in the 44 car smacked the wall coming into turn 3. Let's see what happened. I'm rolling back the footage. He gets one heck of a push by Guy Snyder, and it looks like Mark Bratcher and Glenn Campbell get together. Not sure what that's about. Those guys get together, and Glenn Campbell, don't know how he saved it, but he did. And man, Thomas J. George, who's a lap down in the 53 car of Jose Malbrand, it was 4 wide just for a split second. They threaded the needle of Glenn Campbell. And somehow or another, we're still green flag racing. No one spun. The only car that hit the wall was the 44 of Glenn Campbell. Now Mark Bratcher was involved in that. A little bit of right rear and right side damage on that Toyota Camry that I could see. Yeah, right smack dab where the MW Productions logo is. He got nailed. What do you know? He muddied up the MW Productions logo. But he also muddied up the Real Sim Racing logo too, right there, that I see on the passenger side right rear quarter panel there. Yeah, it could be worse. It could be bent sheet metal. As he now pushes up against the rear deck lid of the 26 of Joey Gattina, who's been leading the race for quite some time here at Talledega. And they shuffled out a little bit to single file here to maybe calm the nerves down of to some extent, as we look back here where the double file action starts, and it's back with the Brendan Mercer machine of the 29 car. He's up underneath the 53 of Jose Malbrand, who threaded the needle. The 18 car of Hollis Vanderloon, still, they can't separate. Every time I see the 18 car and the 29 car, they're together. Always in the same sentence. There they are, right there, together. Now the 60 car, Jeff Eden, pushing up against the machine of Mercer down the backstretch. The 28 cars there. The 28 cars there as well. That's Ryan Vaughn. 3 wide down the backstretch. Into turn 3. Going to separate it. Scott Stencil now sitting in 9th spot. But will now make it 10th spot. Can you believe that? Just up front here in the lead earlier. And now he sits 10th. No caution still, but 44 Glenn Campbell's. Oh! Mark Bratcher just turned out of turn 4 through the tri-oval. And somehow or another, it's only going to collect him for the most part. Mark Bratcher and Guy Snyder getting together. And the Z-Loop Toyota is going to loop it around here at Talledega down the front stretch. And somehow, no one else was caught up in it. Guy Snyder again and Mark Bratcher collect each other coming down the front stretch. My, oh my. 26 laps on the books now. And we've seen our first caution. And folks, this is where they'll come down the pit road. And this is kind of where you could say the money stop is. As we kind of settle things down here. I cannot believe that Mark Bratcher was able to keep that car up on the wall and out of harm's way for the most part, as everyone else is concerned with it. Now, damage-wise, I don't know what that did. Oh, and here we see Bratcher up beside the 27 car of Guy Snyder. I don't know damage-wise what it done to Guy Snyder, but he's got to have some sort of extent damage here, as Mark Bratcher will take somewhat of the higher road here. Stay off of him for the most part. You know, you got to feel for him. You know, he's coming down the back front stretch here. He has no idea what's about to take place, and Guy Snyder just got into the passenger rear quarter panel of him, and it just looped him. He looped him up the wall. Now, Bratcher is sitting with tons of damage right now as he crosses the front stretch there. He's on the lead lap, folks. He's torn up. Coming down on pit road, looks like most folks are taking right sides only. Obviously, filling the car up with Sunoco racing fuel. One not taking right sides only was the Scott Stencil machine. Fuel only for him. So the man out front currently is Ryan Vaughn. As long as Mark Bratcher doesn't pit here, Mark actually being shown your race leader currently. Ryan Vaughn, he pitted. Well, he came down pit road, but he did not pit. I think he missed a stall. So as this starts to settle out, we'll probably see these guys come down pit road. I got to imagine if I'm Ryan Vaughn, I'm coming down pit road here. I got a pit. We're 24 laps into this thing. We may not see another caution until I run out of fuel, and by then it may be too late. We're going to take our second commercial break. You're watching MW Productions live coverage of the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, sponsored by Gary Mercer Trucking.
Hi, I'm Todd Malmstrom, driver of the 75M Ford Mustang GT. This is what I do by night. And this is what I do by day. I sell new Fords, and I've got the best selection of used inventory that you could ask for. Come see me down here at Section 4.
Are you tired of getting hassled at the dealerships? Looking for a salesman that knows what he's talking about? Are you looking to buy a new or used car? Then look no further! Sexton Ford Moline, Illinois has the biggest selection of new or pre-owned vehicles, and Todd Malmstrom is the salesman you want. Todd is an expert when it comes to cars, and if you don't believe me, then you should see him race on a Sunday night. With his top-notch professional customer service and expertise, he will make sure you go home in the right car for the right price. No hassle, no haggling. Todd will make sure that you're happy when you leave the lot with your new or pre-owned vehicle. Remember, Sexton Ford may be the talk of the town, but so is Todd Malmstrom. If you're in the market for a new ride, then buy one from a winner. Todd Malmstrom at Sexton Ford Moline.
Back live where the pace car lights are off down the back stretch of Talledega. As we get a great view of the Sprint sign there in the back coming through into turn 3 there. And there's no time to surrender the lead here. If if you don't have your drafting partner up there in the front with you. And that's something too, guys, we got to look at. At Talledega, teammate plays so much a part of either getting towards the front or kind of staying up towards the front, that kind of thing. And don't think for a second that you won't leave your teammate when it matters the most. I once heard a guy say he'd wreck his grandma to win a race. And I just about think anybody in this race right now would wreck anyone to win it. Or maybe some don't have that mentality. But I know I'd wreck my mother or my grandmother to win a race. As the man who is out front is no stranger to the front, Brian Harvey. Great run here with the 04 car of C.J. LeVere. As they'll single file it out here, coming through the tri-oval. 32 laps will be complete this time by, edging ever so closely to the halfway century mark here. A 2.66 mile racetrack, Talledega Super Speedway. There's only one other track that has the liking ability of a super speedway, and that's Daytona. And I don't think there's any comparison of those two. I think these tracks are totally different and offer different types of super speedway racing. As we've got someone trying to make it. Oh! Brennan Mercer was the man trying to make the mounting charge on the outside. I just saw the blue Chevrolet peek his nose to the outside, and he nearly spun it out. Joey Gattina come up into the left rear quarter panel, coming through turns 3 there, and that's all it takes. And I don't see how in the world Brennan Mercer saved that, but he did. Now Guy Snyder is saying, I'll save you, buddy, and hopefully there's not too much damage to that 2029 machine of Mercer. Involved in the mix with that was Joey Gattina. He seems to be running okay. He's got Jeff Eden in the 60 car behind him. And really, guys, the top 4 here, or excuse me, top 5, has a little 5-car tango, with your leader being Brian Harvey, C.J. LeVere second, Scott Sinley third, Justin Wilson fourth in the 91 car, Bobby Terrell, sporting a different number for this season, is in 5th spot as Joey Gattina, Jeff Eden, Jose Malbrand, and you can throw in Scott Sensel there into the mix. The top, let's see, 9 there have now finally caught that 5-pack, as now Jose Malbrand looks to the high sides of Talledega, being a little bit disgruntled by the fact it's the 60 car, and that's going to do it. I saw that coming from a mile away. The 60 car going to get into the 53 car of Jose Malbrand, and it's going to bring out a caution. I'll let the fine folks watching the race and come back and watch the replay determine the root of that incident, but there's a lot of damaged race cars there. I saw the 10 car come piling through. Nowhere to go but into the back rear deck lid of someone. That's Michael Gray. Spinning through the grass is Jeff Eden in the 60. After collecting, let's see who that was, the 55 car. Dan Murray also involved. Jose Malbrand involved. Torn up a lot of good race cars running mid-pack there. You can't count anybody out at Talledega. Brennan Mercer going to squeeze by the wreck, no problem. Ed Williams Jr. going to do the same. So will Kevin Linden. Those guys kind of running towards the back there, trying to stay out of harm's way for things like that. And we'll see if the leaders come down pit road here. We're on lap 35. Harvey showing no signs of coming down pit road, although if he did, I think they wouldn't have to come back down at all for the rest of the race if it were to stay green. Harvey gonna elect to stay out, and with that decision, we're gonna take away from the race for now, take you to commercial, and bring you back to hopefully the green flag drop here at Talledega Superspeedway. You're watching MW Productions on Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series Monday Night Series, sponsored by the Gary Mercer Trucking.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
DGVertec.net's primary goal is to provide you with a successful website presence. They have purpose-built their web servers successfully throughout the years. The stress testing has been done so that they can provide you with an enhanced web hosting technology that they design for using future standards today for tomorrow. They offer 24/7 support for all web hosting plans. Their team answers support tickets 24/7, so if you have a problem at any time, an agent will be more than happy to help you. If you're not satisfied with your service within 7 days, then you can get a full money-back guarantee, with a 99 uptime guaranteed as well, with plans for shared hosting starting at just $2.95. It's clear to see why DGVertec should be your choice for web hosting. Just go to www.dgvertec.net today, your web hosting solution.
Back live here on the back stretch of Talledega, entering turn 3. We're going green this time by. The leader that's going to take us to the green is Brian Harvey in the 66 car up top side. Wingman, co-pilot that's got him up there is the 04 CJ LeBaire. Scott Simley restarting third, Bobby Terrell 4, Scott Stencil 5th, Hollis Vanderloon now working up into the 6th spot, Rhett McBride 7th, Ed Williams Jr. 8th, Brendan Peterson 9th, and Jason Lester rounding out the top 10 currently here. Still somewhat young into the night. Not quite closed in on the halfway point. 39 laps will be complete as the green flag is dropped tonight. And sometimes during the midway breaking point is when we see the midway breaking. We've already seen a couple of wrecks, although not the big one by any stretch of an imagination. They've just kind of been single wrecks, and somehow lucky enough avoiding disastrous big time wrecks. As they have all but settled thin, single file down the back stretch, all the way back to 10th spot, where you see 65 car of Ed Williams Jr. losing that position. He'll now fall back to 13th, and he's got the 25 car, another Z-Loop Toyota, belonging to Aaron Groskoff. And Aaron will begin to work on that Ford in front of him, try to push him back up there to that lead pack up there that you see. Two teammate cars hooking up, and this is what I talked about. Justin Wilson, Joey Gattina, the JGR teammates up to the high side, working Jason Lester, the 92, and the 78 machine of Brandon Peterson. This is where the double file racing is currently. The 35 Twizzlers Chevy of let's see who that is. I think it's Jorge, excuse me, JOV. Is trying to work the outside, as well as he'll now work up to top against the 20 machine of Rhett McBride. That's the battle for 7th and 8th. Look at those JGR drivers go on the outside there. Coming up on the 91 car, passing him, now coming up on the leaders down the backstretch, 201 miles an hour. Looking for the lead. Oh, the 58 car. Wilson pushed it too hard, and he'll blow the motor. Heavy smoke coming beneath the machine of his car. Justin Wilson to the top banks of Talledega, coming out of turn 4. The whole field will go underneath safely, except for, oh no, big wreck down the front stretch. The 15 car of Keith Brooks Jr. is going to get caught up in that. JOV Jorge is just going to come piling through out of turn 4 into the rear. And they're going to race back to the line there. Jorge not quick enough on the switch there, as he will suffer heavy damage after completely annihilating the rear end of the 58 car of Wilson. Wilson's going to come down, and it's going to tag the 15 car. The 15 car going to suffer the brunt of the damage as well, and he'll slide it through pit road there and pretty much end his night. That's Keith Brooks Jr. A tough situation to be in. Another yellow here. Somewhat of an unlucky yellow. Justin Wilson blowing the engine after pushing teammate Joey Gattina to the front. Hey, he got him to the front, but more than likely not in the way that he wanted to. As Joey now looks to bring the field down pit road here live, and they're going to come down pit road 40 3 laps, 43 laps will be completed here as they pass the start-finish line. And we will be halfway to victory. Halfway home, halfway to glory. Halfway to bed for some. And winning the race off pit road will be Nathan Bowers. How about that? Nathan Bowers is going to win the race off of pit road. Nathan would come in 18th spot, but he would pull a no-show into his pit stop box. Therefore meaning we may see him come back down pit road. Now the 4 car, Adam Benefield, currently, if he doesn't pit, will be your race leader. Actually, Jonathan Goodell is your race leader right now. Jonathan Goodell up there with Aaron Grosskopf. So these 2 guys not pitted. Guy Snyder not pitted. Nathan Little is more than a couple laps down, 3 laps down to be exact. Adam Benefield will be the guy that's next there in 4th spot. So a couple of guys not pitting here, electing to pit here, so we got to wonder about that. Coming into tonight's event, remember Eric Brundies. Eric Brundies was your points leader. Eric Brundies not here with us tonight at Talledega. Rhett McBride, 2nd in the points. Rhett McBride has his 20 car on the track right now in 14th. Jonathan Cadell sitting 3rd in points, currently leader of the race for now, as he is coming down pit road here, so that'll shake some things up a little bit, but I'll throw these out here. Thomas J. George 4th in points, not having a night that he'd like to remember, although Thomas J. George unbelievably is back on the lead lap. How about that, folks? I thought Thomas J. George was cooked. A chicken on Thanksgiving. And he's sitting here 7th spot on the lead lap. Joey Gattina, who led the last lap before the caution fell, is 5th in points. Joey Gattina currently on the racetrack at Talledega, 3rd right now. Brendan Peterson, I thought he was in the top 5. Actually, he's in the 6th spot in points, 4 back from Gattina. Both of these drivers looking for the first win. Brandon Peterson in tonight's race, he's here. He's in 11th spot. Steve Gottschalk is a name that we haven't mentioned much tonight. And he's not here, that's why. Nathan Little, the 41 machine, we know he's been having some electrical problems and he got caught up in some misfortune. He's in 28, 3 laps down, 8th in points. Scott Stencil having a great run, top 5 currently in 5th, 9th in points. And Kevin Linden, who's for the most part tonight stayed out of harm's way. Kevin Linden currently 10th in the points again, currently on the racetrack, 22nd, but he's on the lead lap. He's playing that ride back in the pack type thing here. For the most part, Kevin, I've seen him, when I've seen him and looked at him, he's been towards the back, waiting on the big one, and so far paying off for him. So there's your rundown, halfway to checkered flag rundown of the top 10 in points and where they run on the track currently. And folks, just getting word that Justin Wilson has pulled that machine behind the garage area. His night's done after that. Pace light still on here. We're going to go at least one more lap until we get the green to go. Currently, there are 25 drivers on the lead lap. Glenn Campbell being targeted right now for on the tail end of the lead lap. The next man that is closest to getting his lap back is Nathan Little, 3 laps down, competing with Keith Brooks Jr. He's 3 laps down as well. Nathan Little's pulled the car behind the garage. He's done. He's sitting 27th. Jeff Eden is 29th, 5 down. Jose Malbrand, Dan Murray, Michael Gray, all 10 laps down here. As 45 laps have now been complete. 46 will be complete next time by. Over the halfway point. See if we can't get a good green flag run here. We've had about 3 cautions here, 4 cautions in the matter of, I'd say somewhere in between 25 laps. Possibly a couple of avoidable cautions, but you never know what the person ahead of you's thinking. These guys are not. These guys are actually allowed to talk to each other during the race. Communicate with each other, driver to driver communications. I don't think they can talk about where they're wanting to go eat after tonight's race, but I think they can give someone a heads up, hey, I'm this, or hey, I'm that. I think that's allowed. If not, I'm sure I'll get an email from John Abbott. Speaking of John Abbott, usually I try to look for John Abbott in that 10 car. Tonight, not running it. In fact, I think all season long he hasn't ran it. John Abbott in the 14 car tonight, which is usually Joey Gatina's car number. Yeah, pace car lights are still on here. I think they're going to go off here, and we'll get the 1 to go signal, and the laps will tanker down. What, a tanker down? Something like that. Evan ain't here. Evan's not here to tell me what that really is, that saying is. I tell you what, we don't have very many of them. We're going to get the 1 to go here, so we're going to go green this time by, and once we go green, we're going to do a crank it up. And folks, if you're not sure what a crank it up is, it's where you reach over there to the volume knob and crank it up as loud as it goes. We want to hear basses busting. We want you to give your wife a great reason to go out and buy brand new, nice set of Sound Blaster speakers. Yeah. Mike, I'm not sure if they can hear you. Can they hear you? Okay, okay. I didn't want to just like totally ignore you there. Yeah. Oh, no. You know, sometimes you need a good excuse to go out and get yourself something nice. I think if you crank it up here on the green flag, you'll have just the opportunity. You got to crank it up, though, folks out there. You got to crank your volume up to where your speakers, where you can almost not even make out what the sound is. That's what you want. Because if you had you a nice set of sound blasters, you know, some 7.0s or whatever they call them these days, you could crank it up and the next door neighbors would be wondering what's going on. That's what you want. So let's give everyone an opportunity on a Monday night to crank it up. The sights and sound of the MW Productions Studio Labs of Michael Woolley, as we've cranked it up here, and so have the front leaders here. Scott Simley, a Ford and a Ford. Up top side, Talledega, a Chevy and a Chevy to the bottom side. New leader, Scott Simley, from second to first. Being pushed by C.J. Rivera, that 04 car. Those guys are clear to come down. There they come, right in front of Guy Snyder. The 91 car pushing Snyder. 26 Joey Gattina to the outside here, trying to hook up with the 42 of Scott Stencil. Caution, back out on the speedway. This one's going to collect a couple of drivers. Mark Bratcher possibly involved again. We're going to get clarification. Nathan Little in the mix of things. This is going to happen right behind the lead pack of drivers here. Holy cow, I just seen someone take a hit to the wall. The 18 car, this is actually going to stem from the 18 car, folks. 10th spot, Hollis Vanderloon. Coming down the backstretch. In 10th spot, it's going to, get a nice piece of the 25 of Aaron Grosskopf, and they're going to send him up the track, and Jonathan Goodell is going to plow in. The 41 car, nowhere to go. He'll plow into the mix as well. Three cars totally involved in that one. Yeah, Mark Bratcher actually not involved in that. He had one heck of a wreck avoidance. Gosh, as he nearly got into the back of Nathan Little as he came back up the track after just uncontrollably spinning. With that said, we're going to use this great opportunity to go to commercial. I tell you what, sometimes these caution laps and pacing laps at Talledega can allow for someone to go get themselves a hot dog. And that's exactly what I'm going to go do. The Talledega, you can't beat an Alabama hot dog. You can't beat them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run down the steps here. The 444 steps, I think there are here, from the towers of Talledega. So somewhere towards the bottom, sign a few autographs and get some hot dogs. And we'll see in a couple of minutes here You're watching Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, Monday Night Action, Talledega Super Speedway. Roll Tide.
In a world where survival is the only rule, and feelings have no place, where winning is everything, and weakness is fatal, how much difference can one person make? That depends on the person. In every life, there is a line that cannot be crossed without leaving everything behind, except faith. Once that step is taken, there is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny. There is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny.
Welcome back to live coverage Monday night Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, sponsored by Gary Mercer Trucking, presented to you by MW Productions. We're on the backstretch here, coming into turn 3 to go green flag once again here, folks. We've had several cautions now within the last 25 to 35 laps, and these guys got to get some things turned around here. We don't want to see a race end in a caution. And so far, these guys, it just seems like once they get up to speed and get going, someone Z-loops it. Double file restart here at Talledega as well. Two drivers up front been working together quite well. That's Scott Simley and CJ LeVere pushing Simley to the lead and hadn't looked back since, although we've had a few cautions here in between that. Nonetheless, back green flag, and these cars almost simultaneously take off together, almost like a planned occurrence, as CJ LeVere now gets up underneath Simley, and these guys are going to look to take off here possibly. I've seen it done before with Katina laying back big time on the 91 car of Bobby Terrell. We may see a tandem break-off situation happen here for the first time tonight. That's possible. Not throwing anything out of the equation with these guys tonight. Anything is possible. One guy that's going to be in trouble here unless he can find help, and I think it's coming with Ryan Vaughn in the 28 car, if he can sneak his way through the two-car tandem draft that's in front of him and get up underneath or behind the deck lid of the 91 car Bobby Terrell. Them guys will be okay and they'll pair up. Two guys paired up right now is on the outside trying to make some stuff happen. I tell you what, the leaders couldn't separate at all. I think that the days of checking out may be over with. You know, a year or two ago, you could check out from the field quickly, especially if you could get that third car separated from you. But the draft is full bloom, and so are the trees and the bushes around my house that keep the allergies giving me problems. Tonight, folks, I'm the only one in the booth tonight. Now, Michael Woolley is with me in somewhat sense. He's down there pushing the buttons for us. We want to remember Evan Pasoko. He's missing tonight. Although we know where he's at. He's not MIA. He's not missing in action here.
Our thoughts and prayers are with him for sure.
Yeah, our thoughts and prayers are with Evan Pasoko. His dad has been rushed to the hospital. If you don't know who Evan Pasoko is, he's my right wing nut. I'm sorry, he's not my right wing nut. That's politically incorrect. He's
different term.
Yeah. This isn't political racing. He's my right hand mate. Well, that's not really.
Yeah,
right
we'll go with that. Well, I'll just go with it. How about your right-hand man?
Yeah, my right. Well, I was gonna say right-hand man, but someone out there, I'm sure, would say that's pretty corny. Oh, mercy me! 42 car Scott Stencil into the wall there. Talk about coming out of nowhere like a right front blew in that car. He drifted way up topside and got into the wall, and he's got heavy right front damage. He's going to lose the draft there. Bad thing is I don't know if anybody's going to want to try to get behind him knowing the fact that he just smacked into the wall, and plus the tandems are already paired up. You've got the 94 of Eric Brundy's. Hey, I said Eric wasn't here tonight. and he's here.
I wasn't going to sit there and correct you.
Eric Brundage.
And I just figured, you know, he would just stay in the back and you'd never see him, so it wouldn't matter. But evidently I was wrong.
Look at his car. I can't even, this is why I can't see it, folks. It's camouflaged to the track. I mean, look at that. I can't even see the car.
It's pretty close, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. He's got the 14 car behind him, pushing him. So Eric Brundage, your points leader tonight, coming into tonight's race, is here. And there's a 3-wide car battle up here for the lead, the 28 car. The hot dog between the buns, as Wesley Allen would call it, has now separated that 3-car wide action there momentarily, as Katina now pushes the 28 car on the outside of the racetrack. Bobby Terrell holding on for what he's worth there by himself, no help behind him, as it's now starting to come from the Ford of Eric Brundage. 60 laps complete, 24 to go at the line. I say things may start getting a little bit dicey here. Still 24 laps to go though. Side-by-side action for the lead. LeVere pushing the bottom man, Vaughn. So give it to the sponsorless Chevy of Mr. Vaughn, as he will come down to the bottom of the racetrack, but not so fast Joey Gattina. He can't quite do it. And the position will change hand once more here at Talledega, as Ryan Vaughn will complete his second lead lap here, with Scott Simley now pushing him towards turns 1.
I'm sorry, I got to ask a question real quick. Is Ryan new to RSR?
Yeah, I believe Ryan Vaughn is making his first start tonight.
Okay, yeah.
A couple of drivers are. We mentioned earlier Hollis Vanderloon getting his first start in the Monday night series. Ryan Vaughn getting his first start tonight with the RSR series. Little second pack action here, back here in 11th spot. Aaron Grosskopf leading this pack. 78 car behind him. That's Brandon Peterson. Then you've got Brennan Mercer. Guy Snyder back on the lead lap as Thomas J. George. Single file action for the most part, as that pack again being led by Aaron Grosskopf in the Z-Loop machine. Toyota car. Rocketing down the backstretch, nearly 200 miles an hour. Thomas J. George hit the 199 mark for just a second. That's the second group of cars. Then we've got the first group of cars up here that's being led by your race leader, Ryan Vaughn. Somewhat of a dicey situation starting to build up. The 83 car, Adam Benefield, second to Texas a couple of weeks ago. Folks, you got to go all the way back to April to get that race. It's available, I think it was April 21st. Of course, we would have been at Richmond last week, but rain delay. Talking about thunderstorms, tornadoes, you name it.
A sad, sad day. I wanted to see that Richmond race too.
I had the luxury of calling a Richmond race the week before that, and I have to tell you, if I'm not on vacation that day, I may have to call in a rain day, a rain check myself. Richmond is a tough racetrack to race on. Now, a little bit of free wide action just for a catnip second. We saw Joey Gattina, the 83 car, and Rick McBride just for a second, free wide. I think we'll have a lot more to see here later as the laps continue to wind down. 64 laps now complete. Scott Simley getting out of line behind Ryan Vaughn, saying, okay, your time's done. Push me, C.J. LeVere. LeVere handed out the window, signaling, let's go, buddy. Pushes Simley to the lead. out of turn 4. They'll have him clear, can come down if they want. They will. They'll separate. Lap car coming up ahead, Glenn Campbell. Currently on the lead lap, but very, very, very close to losing it here in just a matter of seconds. They're going to catch him pretty quick here, too. I think Campbell's got a lot of damage, only 181 miles an hour. He'll go way up top side here. 3 wide coming out of turn 2. Just for a second, folks. Pay attention. Here we come. 3 wide. 3 wide. You're clear. You're clear. John Abbott sneaking his little 14 car in the ninth spot. Executive Jet Management sponsored Chevy coming out of turn 4. He'll have the hookup with Eric Brundage, your points leader. And they're kind of just riding right there. I don't think John Abbott's trying to push the issue too much. As you can just tell, he's about a car length and a half behind Brundage there, running through the back front stretch there. Up front again here, side-by-side action. The 83 car solo man up top. Toyota making it dangerous as he nearly gets into the right rear quarter panel of Gattina. Oh, buddy. Now Gattina to the outside of LeVere, looking for the side draft. I think these guys trying to hunt the side draft that could be invisible to some people.
It got me thinking a little bit. How about a Michael Keaton spotter pack?
Yeah, you like that 3 wide, 3 wide, 3 wide. You're clear. Pretty simple enough. Scott Simley still continues to lead here at Talledega. One group has the top 9 in it. The other group, who's led by the 10th place car, Aaron Grosskopf, has the rest of the field all the way back to 19th in it, where Kevin Linden still running there. Remember, Kevin in that Cobalt Low Chevy, for the most part tonight, remains in the back, but by choice. All 4 corners of that car look really sharp, other than maybe just a little bit of dirt around the front and the rear of the car, which is expected.
Kind of wondering if 16 laps to go, we're still bunched up like this. Are we going to see a photo finish here at Talledega?
Yeah, I think we will. I think we'll see a great finish. I think these guys can hold off wrecking here, especially with, you know, there's 9 cars up here in the front pack, so that's what, you know, makes me think that the front 9 here can just hold it together.
It'll take you all the way back to Daytona, though. The old spin to win right at the end of the race.
Oh yeah, what a race, folks! If you haven't watched that, you need to go back and watch that. What a finish at Daytona we had to open up things here at the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series. And as you just mentioned, laps are winding down here. 14 to go at the line. We're gonna go ahead and take a commercial break. I know they last a couple of minutes, so we're going to try to step away, take what could be the last commercial break tonight before we talk to your winners, and come back to hopefully, fingers crossed, green flag racing here as the laps wind down here. You're watching Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series.
Hi, I'm Todd Malmstrom, driver of the 75M Ford Mustang GT. This is what I do by night. And this is what I do by day. I sell new Fords, and I've got the best selections of used inventory that you could ask for. Come see me down here at Section 4.
Are you tired of getting hassled at the dealerships? Looking for a salesman that knows what he's talking about? Are you looking to buy a new or used car? Then look no further! Sexton Ford Moline, Illinois has the biggest selection of new or pre-owned vehicles, and Todd Malmstrom is the salesman you want. Todd is an expert when it comes to cars, and if you don't believe me, then you should see him race on a Sunday night. With his top-notch professional customer service and expertise, he will make sure you go home in the right car for the right price. No hassle, no haggling. Todd will make sure that you're happy when you leave the lot with your new or pre-owned vehicle. Remember, Sexton Ford may be the talk of the town, but so is Todd Malmstrom. If you're in the market for a new ride, then buy one from a winner. Todd Malmstrom at Sexton Ford Moline.
Back live here, where we're still green flag racing, so folks, you didn't miss anything other than the usual again. Now the second pack, they've been talking it up here. I've been listening to the race communication here. I hope that's not illegal. They've said that they feel like they can catch the lead pack, and man, I don't know about that. Now, one thing that could help that second pack out is the front guys up here racing hard, a lot harder than what they are right now, and the second pack stay in line. Now, they've tandem up here. The second group of guys have tandem up, but they're not exactly on each other's bumpers. So I don't know how the speed will work in their favor. They're not hitting 200, although the leaders up front are hitting 200. So I've seen stranger things happen, and hey, if a caution were to come out, you could throw all that out the window. You don't have to catch nobody because everybody's going to get punched back up. 75 laps complete. So that leaves us with 9 to go. Leader, C.J. LeVere. Rhett McBride being pushed by Joey Gattina. We've heard the name all night. I tell you something, Joey Gattina will push anybody. He's pushing Rhett McBride out to the front there.
Earlier on in the race, he was pushing a guy that wasn't even his teammate right past his teammate.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, Joey's teammate got taken out, wrecked earlier on in the race. Sometimes that's what happens, though. You got to rely on some other guys. And Rhett McBride, I tell you, is one guy that I wouldn't mind relying on to help me out.
Oh, I'd hook up with him, definitely. I mean, he's fast every week, week in, week out.
Yeah, second points. One of the most consecutive drivers here in the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series. Actually, second or third in average finish.
Yes, one of the most consistent drivers here at RSR.
We'll see if consistency pays off here in the next few laps, because it's winding down ever so closely. Now 77 laps complete at the line as C.J. LeVere leads another one. Mark another one down, tally another one. They're catching a lap down car of Glenn Campbell once more. Glenn Campbell running 179 miles an hour coming off of the corners of High Banks and Talledega down the backstretch. They'll catch him in no time, and they will go 3 wide. So cue your spotter packs up. Way up top side, lap car, Glenn Campbell, nearly on the wall. 3 wide, 3 wide, 3 wide. You're clear, 2 wide, you're clear. And that's how quick it happens. Ho, buddy! Tire rub to the 28 car from Rhett McBride down the tri-oval. Putting a little bit of tire rub on the right side passenger side of the car of Ryan Vaughn. Welcome to Real Sim Racing, buddy. Oh, buddy. The front pack here consists of 9 drivers, where John Abbott is at the tail end of that pack there. Right in the draft wake, though. He's in the draft wake of actually Eric Brundy's points leader. Those guys have been real patient. They're 8th and 9th. So if anything happens in front of them, they should be able to whoa up, gear it down, and get by the wreck, no problem.
Oh, they're just playing possum. John Abbott's looking for a win here.
Absolutely. It's the if you've ever seen Rango, you know, you got to wonder why. You know, it's not the possum, it's the, what was it, the armadillo. Why the armadillo crossed the road? And I
have seen the movie, I just don't remember.
I can tell you it wasn't to get to the other side. It was because it was his destiny.
Oh, that is right. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. So if it's destiny tonight for John Abbott, he'll cross the road, right? Or cross right over, right on into Victory Lane.
Well, we're about to find out in 4 short laps right after they cross the stripe here.
Mike Woolley with a call at the line. 4 to go. Rhett McBride looking for the lead from C.J. LeVere. Joey Gattina going to try to mount up the high side charge at Talledega. Does he have enough coldness left in the water pressure or in the oil pressure? I know it's got to be blinking. Those guys have been hooked up for quite some time. Ryan Vaughn to the bottom, pushing LeVere. Those guys got to be wounded up with their engines as well. So they're pushing the red limiters here. How far will they push them? I'm telling you one guy you don't want to ask, and that's Justin Wilson, who pushed Joey Gattina to the lead earlier, but it came at a cost. We saw the dark gray smoke pour beneath the hood, and his night was finished. Now Joey Gattina, could it be his turn to push Rhett McBride possibly to the lead and blow his motor? We'll find out here. The lap's winding down. 3 to go. Joey Gattina making the move to the outside. 3 wide action. The 83 car stuck in the middle. Tight racing down the backstretch. 1 below the yellow line. That's Simley. Gattina lost to the outside as he'll have to fall in suit behind the 83 car. Adam Benefield now pushing the 20 of Rhett McBride. Good news for you Rhett McBride fans. He's got a clean motor behind him. The 83 car should be all but clean. And that's going to do it. Rhett McBride will win at Talledega as caution has fell out on the speedway. And you can thank Adam Benefield, Mr. McBride, for that. And looking back, trying to find where the caution lies, and I see the dark smoke coming beneath the Joey Gattina 26 machine. Coming out of turn 4, 198 miles an hour. Gattina and the 91 car just going to go for the same piece of real estate. And that will bring out the caution, and it will end the race. Top 5 rundown before we go to the commercial. Rhett McBride wins at Talledega just by mere, what, nanoseconds? I mean, if he would have waited, if Adam would have waited another nanosecond, caution would have failed. C.J. LeVere would have won this race. So C.J. LeVere won, stolen away from him. He'll finish second. Adam Benefield third. Ryan Vaughn in his first debut here will get a great, impressive 4th place finish. Scott Simley will finish 5th. And rounding out the top 10, Eric Grundy is 6th, John Abbott 7th, Brendan Peterson 8th, Thomas J. George 9th, and Jason Lester bring his 92 machine home in 10th. We're going to go to commercial break. Let the caution continue here. It's over. Brett McBride wins. We'll return here in just a few moments.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Welcome back live, where we just wrapped up the biggest super speedway on the circuit. Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, sponsored by Gary Mercer Trucking, presented to you by MW Productions. And we just had one heck of a finish, although it did enter under caution. We got to talk here real quick to Adam Benefield. Adam, man, I tell you what, first off, 31st starting position tonight. To finish third ain't too shabby here. Tell us about your race tonight. Oh, frick, man. And let me move you guys up into the booth here. I'm so sorry here. We're back here live in the MW Production Studio holler here, where we just caught up with Adam Benefield. Adam, starting from 31st position, finishing third. Ain't too bad. Tell us about your race here tonight at Talledega.
Yeah, we had to start from pit road with a number penalty. Forgot to change that, but just rode, waited for the caution, and got caught up in that little wreck right there going into 3. I got sideswiped by a teammate, but pit crew was able to put it back together, put enough tape on it, I guess, to hold in a draft, and we coming down with about 5 to go, and riding in 6th. I had to make something happen. So jumped to the high side, and I think I got up under Joey, and there was Rit. So he pushed me back up to the pack. So I started wailing on his bumper and just got lucky, I guess.
Adam, there's seconds, there's milliseconds, and of course there's nanoseconds. And I believe if you'd have waited a nanosecond later to start to push that 20 car up towards the front, we may have seen a different winner tonight. So talk about coming up through the field at the right, precise moment and stealing one from the 04 car of C.J. Lavera right at their last second, right before the caution.
It was, like I said, you know, it was just getting down to crunch time. I knew we was going to have to make a move. I've gotten bit in the butt a few times with these plate racing, just waiting too long. So figured I'd jump the gun and go sooner than I wanted to. And I wouldn't have been able to get this back bumper if Joey wouldn't have slid up a little bit and opened the hole. So I got to him. I figured he'd take one. He took one from me a few weeks ago, so I figured I'd let him have one on this one.
Absolutely. And Adam, I know we've had a couple of weeks off here, but nonetheless, we always try to ask the drivers if they ask or if they have anyone that they'd like to thank. So we'll give you the opportunity to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, my teammates Dan Murray, Jonathan Cadell, everyone over at Steel Horse Racing, I Can't Design, Roll Speed Dynamics, my beautiful wife for letting me do this, and all my family and friends just watching, and God, of course.
Absolutely. There you have it, folks. Adam Apple, also known as Adam Benefield, finishes third tonight after starting in 31st spot with a penalty there. But he shows that you can get it done and come back from no man's land. Of course, second place finisher tonight, C.J. Lavere, somewhat maybe disappointed. C.J., I got a feel for you just for a half of a second or a nanosecond, but tell us about your race.
It's a pretty good race. My teammates, you know, Brian and Scott, we worked together. We had the odd man out, and we were able to stay up front. And I don't know what, right towards the end, I decided to go to the outside because I was too hot, and I got pushed to the front and ran there for a while. And I was like, man, I might just win this thing. And that kind of stole it. Caution came out right at the perfect timing.
Yeah, hopefully you got some pain reliever from that bite that you got. You got bit there. Bit by the rattlesnake of Rhett McBride in that 20 car. You mentioned that. CJ, coming off of a long extended break here, we haven't been racing on Monday night, going back to the 21st. I believe you missed the Texas race, but good to be back here, obviously, at Talledega, the Super Speedway tonight in that 04 machine. And, of course, as always, we always like to let the drivers throw out their sponsors or anybody they'd like to thank. And, again, congratulations on picking up that second spot.
Well, I got to thank my team, first off, Fearless Racing Team, and got to thank my sponsors, Axel Sanitary and Quick Car. Yeah, we're locked into the championship, so we just got to sit back and try to steal the wins, and that's all we got to worry about until we get to those last 16.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, CJ, and congratulations once again. And now, pacing myself ever so slowly, heading towards victory lane, where Rhett McBride is back-to-back winners in the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series. Yes, he won at Texas, and some folks, you'll have to go back to April 21st, I believe, to catch that race where you'd see Rhett McBride lead. How many? Let's see if Rhett remembers. Rhett, exactly how many laps did you lead at Texas? Do you remember that?
Just the one that counted.
The one that counted, man. And I tell you, you led the one that counted tonight here in dramatic fashion, man. Congratulations on your win.
Yeah, thank you, Keaton. Yeah, that was a pretty nutty race, man. We were just me and my teammates. We were running a real good race as far as where we were wanting to be when we got down to the end of the race, and then Mark had a problem. We dropped Mark, and then we had another teammate, Hollis of ours, who runs in a different truck series with us. He got into some trouble, so it was just me and Brandon left, and Lester, and so, you know, we just kind of were trying to just bide our time right along till we got to the end. Then there on that last restart, there was some problem or something going down into turn 1, and luckily I was able to stay with the pack and push Adam up there and kind of worked with him. We used each other to get up to the front, and once I got up there, I just the top side seemed to be moving pretty good. And I got a great drafting help with Joey. I mean, Joey I wouldn't have been up there if it wasn't for him, because he stayed right there with me on the high side, and we just kept the cars on those inside lines door, and that's all it was. I was in the right place at the right time when the caution came out.
And sometimes that's where it pays to be. Like we mentioned back in April at Texas, race 7 to end segment 1, you win it, and then you end strong there, and you come into tonight at Talledega, you sneak out the win, the victory here, and to start segment 2. Again, congratulations to you. Anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
Yeah, I want to just thank all the guys at RSR for doing the league. You guys at MW Productions for broadcasting and doing such a great job on the broadcast. Want to thank all the guys at RDSR, Mark Bratcher, Brandon Peterson, Jason Lester, who's kind of an unofficial team member, Hollis van der Loon, and John Langley. And I want to thank my sponsor, GT Omega Sim Racing Chassis. You can go visit them at gtomegaracing.com, talk to Leo, and see about getting you a sim rig. Makes it a lot more comfortable.
Absolutely, man. Do they make a broadcast rig? A broadcast chair rig?
Oh, we got some office chairs, buddy, and those things are like a bed. I'm telling you, you need to see him, talk to him, get you one. You'll feel like you're in a race car.
Yeah, and like a bed, like you said, man, I'd like to actually lay down and broadcast. That'd be something different there.
I'm sure you could do it, Keith.
But I might fall asleep, so I don't know. We'll have to see. But as always, thanks, Rhett McBride. Congratulations again, Rhett McBride, picking up the victory here at Talledega. Next week, should I dare say, we're going to Richmond, the Richmond 160, and that should be entertaining. A night race, and then race 10, May 19th, is the Charlotte 260, folks. 174 laps around the Charlotte Oval, and a Mercer 100 event that you'll know all about next week. Next Monday night, we'll tell you all there is to know about that. Now, for me, I won't be there because I'll be sailing away to the open seas. Is that how that song goes, Mike? I'll be on a cruise, so you won't see me.
Let's see.
But for me, Mike Woolley. Okay. For me, Mike Woolley, Maniac, and Evan Pasoko, no show. We'll see you next Monday night at Richmond.
DGVertec.net's primary goal is to provide you with a successful website presence. They have purpose-built their web servers successfully throughout the years. The stress testing has been done so that they can provide you with an enhanced web hosting technology that they design for using future standards today for tomorrow. They offer 24/7 support for all web hosting plans. Their team answers support tickets 24/7, so if you have a problem at any time, an agent will be more than happy to help you. If you're not satisfied with your service within 7 days, then you can get a full money-back guarantee, with a 99 uptime guaranteed as well, with plans for shared hosting starting at just $2.95. It's clear to see why DGVertec should be your choice for web hosting. Just go to www.dgvertec.net today, your web hosting solution.